The Mystery of BELICENA VILLCA. 5th Book. Epilogue, or Prologue. Chapter 5. I was seated on the couch of the living room, sleeping. I had drunk 3 milligrams of a tranquilizer, and I had the immune system very sedated. It would be the 10 at night, and, within dreams, I heard Kurt speaking in Arab and German. But it was not about a dream. At noon, Uncle Kurt requested an international call, and they have just communicated it. Minutes later, it reached to me and shook me without contemplations. Everyone has died, Echiro. Everyone. You and me are the only von Subeman alive. My uncles and cousins of Egypt, even some far cousins, who lived and studied in Europe, all died this morning at the 0:15 hours. Uncle Kurt didn't raise his voice, but his gestures were eloquence. He was out of his mind. I tried to calm him, to transmit him my pharmacological tranquility, but I just achieved to get nervous again. The fury of Uncle Kurt was contagious. At a few steps from distance, in the dinner room, where I saw my dead parents, were 2 coffins upon pairs of easels. Crowns, palms of flowers, candelabums with burning candles, and crosses, completed the ceremonial elements of the Catholic funeral. My father was known in that population since his childhood, and Mom since 1938, so the mood of the neighbors and friends, who wanted to give him the last goodbye, was incessant. Many, belonging to the most humble peoples, but with whom we always counted for the root field work, would stay the night. Someone contracted some professional maudlins of L'Amherst, famous for the sentimentalism and fervor that they imposed to their laments, who were dedicated in that moment to represent their function. Terrible moment that, of impotence, at noticing the manner in which our enemies attacked us, and to not be capable to respond in the same measure. Something surprising, the harsh Uncle Kurt had seated, finally, in the other couch, and for a moment he cried with affliction. I had to receive the condolence of the visitors, according to the traditional mores, who, before leaving, left their names annotated in a card, which assured them to receive more afterwards, in a term of no more than 10 days, the postal gratitude. Mores, habits in practice since immemorial times, from which I could not escape without causing a great scandal. At noon, the house was crowded of people. Some gently neighbors were in charge to prepare the coffee and attend the people. Divers groups of friends formed huddles to comment the horrible crimes, and most unusual rumors circulated from mouth to mouth in the superstitious Indian and mestizo neighborhood. Uncle Kurt and I tried vainly that the police gave us the corpses of Catalina and the children, fearing that in few hours be corrupted as occurred with the members of the House of Tharsis. But our management was worthless. The autopsy would not be revealed till the next day. And, even if the police not admitted it, we knew the reason of the delay. The forensic medics didn't achieve to establish the cause of the deaths. My sister and nephews were found in their rooms, in the superior floor of the house, and presumably they died without knowing the gruesome murders that were being committed outside. They would have died, as not initiated members of the House of Tharsis, in the moment in which the Dorji of Beret turned the blood of the winepress into tar, that is to say, at the 0:15 hours. And obviously, the forensic medics didn't know this. We were resigned then, to only veil my parents, although we commissioned the enterprise of funereal services to insist periodically in the morgue, and reclaim the missing corpses. A car stopped, and an unknown person descended, but to whom, I would have not imagined to see there, the officer Maidane, the cop that intervened in the case of BELICENA VILLCA. At seeing me, he approached to me hasty, and he presented me his deepest condolences, as was the rigor. And then, he explained the motives that had made him decide to come to the funeral, speaking in his particular style, simple and honest. Dr. Sentinel, this case, as you will imagine, has moved the entire province. All would want to apprehend the mad murderers of your family. But this matter is beyond my jurisdiction. Now, I am Commissar of the Investigations Department, but not the Chief of the Division. With this clarification, I want to assure you that I have not came here as a cop, but as a friend. Do you comprehend me, Doctor? I assented, unknowing where he wanted to reach. Uncle Kurt was beside me, and was looking at Commissar Maidane with curiosity. Then, I will come to the point. Are you in a hurry? Do you need some kind of help? Whatever it could be, do not doubt to trust in me. I've friends, brave and loyal, men proved in the anti-subversive struggle, which would be disposed to act, let's say out from the regulations, to adjust accounts with the Jews, or whoever be chasing you. Uncle Kurt frowned, and for a moment I feared that was going to release one of his thunderous horse laughs. But I was too bereaved for it, and instead he smiled with clemency. I, by my part, was irritated and dumbfounded. Irritated, not for the offer of Maidane, that I appreciated, due to, even absurd, was sincere, but for having to live all that hallucinatory situation, including the funeral. And dumbfounded, because I not imagined how the officer had reached to the conclusion that I needed that kind of help. Don't you respond me? He said, consternated. Or is that you don't trust in me? But I know that you were chased, even if you deny it. Is my profession to discover these things? I know it since yesterday, when I received in the Department of Investigations, the report about what happened in Srilos. Then, I remembered you, and the case of the sick BELICENA VILLCA. Making a parenthesis, I will confess you now, that you were right in what you affirmed, that in such crime there was an obscure point. That point was never clarified. But, it is also true that nobody was interested to clarify it, and that the police have urgencies more important to attend with the money of the contributors. I know it. That doesn't matter to you. You want to see the justice triumphing. You're very interested in the case of BELICENA VILLCA, because you felt the case close. But, we have to attend certain cases, and that was just one more, one that, I repeat, nobody was interested. I tell you this, because I give you in some manner the reason to you, Doctor, take it in that way. In reality, I wanted to bury the case, because it lacked of importance. But now, I know that it is not thus. What do you want to say? I asked to my regret. Well, closing the parenthesis that I opened to excuse me with you, it happens that this morning, I tried to localize you in the neuropsychiatric hospital, where you worked, and there, they informed me that, you revoked 2 months ago, during your vacations. All my acts were strange coming from someone so normal as you. Was then, at mid-morning, that I decided to take a free day, and dedicated myself to realize a little investigation on my own. Thus, I verified that you sold your department of Cerro San Bernardo, without communicate anyone your domicile. And that your friends obtained from their parents the news that you was investigating by your own an archaeological site in Catamaca. Everything too vague, Dr. Setonal. Closed bank accounts, domicile change, abandon of work, of the studies, friendships. It could be said that are the steps of someone who wants to erase his steps, of someone that flees. But you're not a criminal, you had none motives, neither enemies who forced you to flee 2 months ago. Oh, is there then, appear the mysterious enemies? Yes, Dr. Setonal. I yielded a little in my position, and I linked your strange behavior with the crime of the neuropsychiatric hospital. It could be said that there was something else that forced you, the doctor, to flee, I said to myself, and I gave myself to read again the files about the murderer of BELICENA VILLCA. And what I discovered? Well, that we didn't give any attention to the Jewish medals that the mortal rope had on its extremes. I wanted to know, as soon as possible, what said the inscriptions, and, without respecting the NAP, I went to the university and inquired in a labyrinthine section, I think that it was called Department of Philology, until I encountered with an incredible personage, called Professor Ramirez. And what do you tell about the Dr. Ramirez? Well, the poor man went out fleeing, at knowing that I was a cop, and seeing the pictures of the medals. I had to convince him for hours to talk. It resulted at last that he knew you very well. That you have consulted him 3 months ago about the same inscriptions, but not mentioning the crime. You did well, because at knowing him, automatically his mouth was shut. And that behind this, there is an awesome story in which as I said, Dr. Seatonal, the damn Jews. Yes. I know what you think. That I don't know how to distinguish the Druids from the Jews, nor even capable to understand the universal synarchy. You, as every German, believe that we are idiots. True as it is said. I think that Professor Ramirez called them in that manner. Look, it is possible that I don't know what is a Druid. But, I advance you that, I'm just coming after 6 or 7 hours, with the Professor Ramirez, in which he was dedicated to demonstrate me, that a Druid is the same that a Jew, if I'm not misunderstood his final synthesis. Therefore, for the case is the same, intellectual quibblings. I was right. BELICENA VILLCA was liquidated by the Jews, special Jews, but Jews at last. And you were also right, when you told me about the form of the murder, the modus operandi, was echimasonic. Yes, you was right, and I didn't believe you. But, I will not commit the same mistake now, because I have been thinking. I've reflected about that happened 3 months ago, the steps after you, and what has happened here yesterday. And do you know what conclusion I have reached? I do not dare to imagine it, I said him with honesty. Well, that the murder of your family constitutes a ritual murder. I can't deny it. I accepted, because the policeman deserved the confirmation to his conclusions. And of the same type of BELICENA VILLCA, perhaps, committed by the same killers? I could not prove it, but I am sure that the answer is affirmative, I conceded. That is better, Dr. Seatonal. I already told you that I am not here as a cop, but as a friend. I understand that for some reason, you cannot announce the truth, and for this reason, I come to offer you my help, mine and of my nationalist comrades. I have a group of tasks prepared to enter in operations at any moment. He said, lowering the tone of the voice till an inaudible level. Even if it seems incredible, I didn't understand yet what the officer Maidane proposed me. And, what is what you want to do? I asked without dissimulation. And you ask it, Doctor. To help you against your enemies, that without doubts are our enemies, and enemies of the country. We offer you concrete help, men, weapons, equipment. You just have to give us the names of the killers, a clue, reveal us which is their organization. Don't you want to revenge your family? We will do it for you, or with you. I contemplated Maidane discouraged. How could I explain him the reality of Beret and Bishwa? Undoubtedly in the head of the policeman not even the possibility fit that behind the murders be a supernatural cause. He didn't recognize real existence to the magic, and in his judgment, the esoteric would be just a method of intelligence, destined to achieve the psychological action, and the cultural penetration. In sum, the officer Maidane, as good war veteran of the frigate nationalist, just conceived foes of flesh and bones, Jews, Marxists, Masons, Zionists, or whatever, but permeable foes to the artillery of varied caliber and the total. I appreciate your offer, Maidane. I appreciate it profoundly, because I know that it is honest and disinterested. But you cannot help us, and I cannot give you any information. Believe that it is better to leave things thus. Now, it is not a mere intern of the madhouse. It is about my family, Maidane. Of all my family. If you could help me, how could I not accept? However, now, I am who wants to leave things as they are. I know what I am saying. How is that we cannot help you? Protested Maidane. Do you know what I think? That you're afraid. I don't know who has committed the crimes. But it is evident that you know, and you don't want to share the secret. And why would I do such thing? Well, because you suppose that the enemy is too powerful for us, the awkward South Americans. I comprehend you. You are German, and you have a prejudice against the Argentinian nationalism. And perhaps, you're right, because an entire fauna of imbeciles and traitors have discredited us. I can't respond to those charges. But you are wrong, if you think that it will be always the same. We're in another age, and there are other men. To our generation, Dr. Sentinel, they will not be able to stop materially, he affirmed with firmness. We are too many, we have ideals, and we are tired of corruption and materialism. The day in which we will lunge the synarchic forces to a great national lesson is near. Trust in us, and you will not repent. None enemy is too strong in our homeland, as to stop us to give an unforgettable strike. Perhaps, we will not win the war, but we can punish them partially, hurt their pride, break their arrogance, avoid that they taste the triumph of their crimes. What do you tell me, Doctor? It is the Mossad. The English MI5? The CIA? What answer could I give to the Commissar Maidane? I will just tell this, and it's the only thing. I said, that if the enemy be human, I am sure that your help would be effective. Yes, Maidane, if the enemy be human, I assure that, I would count with your support. That must be enough for you. But, what do you say? He asked mockingly. It surprised me that you, a person that I respect for your honesty, demonstrate me that you resort to a simple escapism to avoid the threat of the killers. You're afraid, and you don't want to face the fact that sooner or later, you'll be also attacked by the killers. Because if it's not, if you were in your head, you would comprehend that, the killers are very humans. How? I exclaimed involuntarily. Yes, Doctor. Requested Maidane. The killer a human begins. If they were not, why they would use knives and batons? He asked with irrefutable police logic. It was a simple conclusion, absurd and elementally simple. But such reason, I could not accept it, I denied him. And for it, and to come from Maidane, just a policeman of Salta. No. No. I denied stubbornly, you don't comprehend the nature of the enemy. You cannot help us. I had locked myself in a lamentable infantile attitude, when the intervention of Uncle Kurt surprised us. Yes, you can help us, he assured. We looked at him half-mouthed. Perhaps, you can achieve that they give us back, the corpses of Catalina, and the children, he suggested. Oh, suspired Maidane. It is about a bureaucratic formality. It is other kind of help what I have come to offer you, but don't believe that I am going to defraud you, if you ask me a favor. He observed his wristwatch and he added. Are the 2 hours and 15 minutes, bad after 2 démarches. Nevertheless, I will go to the local commissariat to inquire what happens with those corpses, and then, I will come back. Do not forget what I said to you, Doctor. Meanwhile, consider my offer.